So for today, we're going to start in a standing position, which is why I'm kind of situated this way. And many of you know that I used to be a middle school Spanish teacher. And so I would get my kids moving a lot. And our theme for today is finding your inner child and really moving from the place of your inner child. So I'm going to do a quick warm up with you that I used to do with my students. Please have fun with it and just enjoy moving through the body. So I always will say, shake it out, and a lot of us are holding tension in our bodies. So just start off by kind of shaking, kind of letting yourself loosen up a bit. And then just draw your attention to your right arm. We're going to shake and we're going to count together. So here we go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Nice job. So hopefully you're moving a little bit more. We'll do that in Spanish next week. You get English this week. All right, come on to your mat, facing it so that it's nice and long. Now we're a little bit warmed up, blood is moving. As we move, remember that when you were a child, you probably did not judge yourself or your body the way that you might do that as an adult. So with that in mind, as you flow through your practice today, be kind to yourself, be gentle, like you would with a child. Deep breath in, expanding the rib cage. Sweep arms up overhead. Allow fingertips to reach towards the sky. And as you bring your arms back down by your sides, tuck your chin towards your chest. Slowly roll down one vertebra at a time. Lengthen through the back of the legs, hollow through the belly. Reaching down towards the floor, allow your hands to ground somewhere, whether it's on your mat, tops of the feet, shins, or thighs. On your next exhale, roll back up one vertebra at a time. And sweeping arms up overhead again. And coming back down by your sides, tucking chin to chest, rolling down. Hollow through the belly, long through the back of the legs. And on your next exhale, scoot the belly as you round the spine, stacking one vertebra on top of the other. Sweep arms up overhead. And one more time. Tucking chin towards your chest, rounding. This is one of the few times I'll say round your shoulders, round your back, hollow belly, lengthen through the legs as you come back down. And then on your exhale again, draw belly to spine as you roll back up. Good, and arms reach up towards the sky, reaching as high as you can, shoulders draw down the back of the rib cage. And on your exhale, sweep arms back by your sides. This time as you tuck chin towards your chest and roll back down, you're gonna get ready to walk your hands out in front of you. As soon as your fingertips touch the ground, start walking your hands out. Keep your heels rooted down to your mat. Draw your sits bones back behind you, lengthening through the back of the legs. On your next exhale, sweep the right leg up towards the ceiling, keeping hips square to the floor. And then draw the leg back down. Switch to the other side, reaching long through the left leg, drawing the foot up towards the ceiling, and then back down. Continuing to reach sits bones back behind you. Bend your right knee, reach through the left heel, and alternate from side to side. Bending one knee, reaching through the opposite heel. And then send both heels down towards the ground, sits bones back behind you. Reach right leg up towards the ceiling, open through the hips, stacking the hips as you bend the knee. reaching long through the side body, and then gently rotate hips back towards the floor. Bring your right foot to the floor, switch to the other side. Continue to reach long through the spine, sits bones reach back behind you as left leg reaches up, knee bends, hips rotate open. Continue to draw sits bones back behind you, reach down through the right heel, and then gently rotate pelvis back towards the mat, or reach back through both heels. And then on your next exhale, draw belly in as you take yourself into high plank. Feel free to come to forearms here if you'd like. As you draw belly in, also think about shoulder blades wide across the back of the rib cage. Right leg reaches up to about hip height, and from here we draw the leg away and back to center, and away and back to center. 3 more times. Open and close, and open and close. Last time. And foot comes to the floor, switching to the other side. Curl the pelvis a little bit more, lengthening through the lower spine. And 4, 3, 2. Last one. Foot comes to the floor, gently bend your knees, reach back for child's pose. Reach sits bones towards your heels, lengthening through the spine. Allow forehead to rest on the floor. Explore your body a little bit here. See if your breath can explore areas that it might not be getting to throughout your days. See if you can use the next 3 breaths to find more expansion anywhere where you don't feel that you really felt this expansion as much as you'd like to. It might be through the back of the neck. It might be through the tops of the thighs. It might be in the belly. One more breath here. And then on your exhale, use your lower abs to draw yourself back up onto all fours. We're going to come to a seated position. And I'm going to come into Dancer Z. We're going to go into what is often known in Pilates as mermaid. If this position isn't comfortable for you, we're going into side bending, so feel free to find a different position that works better for your body. Regardless of your seated position, sits bones reach down to the floor. Long spine, lower belly drawn in. We're going to start by placing one hand on the floor. The opposite arm reaches up towards the sky, and then we side bend. The bottom shoulder relaxes, sliding down the back of the rib cage as we reach the top arm long. Take one more breath here, and then switch to the other side. And we're going to make this a more fluid movement, kind of like a wave motion, using the breath to set the rhythm. And then coming back to center, arms out into a T, we're going to switch to the other side. Again, rooting down through the sits bones. If you need to put your hands down or readjust a little bit, go ahead and do so. And then you're going to place one hand on the mat and side bend. And as we continue to side bend, you might find one side likes to bend more than the other. And you'll remind yourself about that non-judgment, about that inner child, speaking to him or her quietly, softly, kindly. I say this as I'm on my more challenging side, by the way, in case you're wondering. And one more time on each side, reaching the top hand long. And then coming back to center, arms out to the sides. We're going to take our legs in front of us wide. Knees are still bent. We're on our heels. If you need to make sure that you're supported in order to protect your spine, or if you're feeling like your hips are uncomfortable, please put your hands back behind you. Otherwise, arms are out into a T as you windshield wiper the legs. Now notice it's just the legs are moving. Pelvic headlights are shining straight forward in front of you. Arms are relaxed even though they're out in that T. Shoulders are dropped down the back of the rib cage. And 3, 2, and last one. And then we're going to take our legs straight out in front of us. If you're getting tired of being in this position, you can always put a pillow or something underneath your pelvis to bolster you. You can also do this seated in a chair. On your next exhale, co-contract, drawing belly in, lifting pelvic floor. Long spine as you rotate from one side to the other. And as you rotate, keep spine long, sits bones rooted. Pelvis stays stable, so it's just everything above the pelvis that's rotating. Both sits bones stay firmly planted into the ground. And one more time to each side. Coming back to center, we're going to come into quadruped position on all fours. Getting a little bit more rotation through the thoracic spine. Find your alignment here, shoulders over wrists, hips over your knees, lower belly drawn in. And then from here, reach your right arm up towards the sky, opening through the heart, and then thread the needle, sliding the arm underneath behind the opposite arm. We're gonna make this more of a flow, so we're gonna sweep up towards the ceiling and thread the needle. Sits bones reach back behind you. And opening, rotating, getting a nice long twist. Opening through heart center here. Last time, reaching as much as you can, and then threading the needle. We're gonna do that sweep one more time, opening through the heart, and then place our hand on the floor, switch to the other side, reaching left fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then spiraling to draw the arm down. The side of the face might come to the floor, it might not. Either way, you're really reaching sits bones back behind you to keep length in the spine. 3 more here. And 2. And last one. And then sweep the arm up towards the ceiling and then come back to center. We're going to come onto our forearms from here, coming into a forearm plank. Lengthen through the back of the legs, reaching through the heels. Curl the pelvis underneath you. Long through the back of the neck. Gaze is about at the front of your mat. Really push into your elbows and your forearms, widening the shoulder blades across the back of the rib cage. Holding here. Remember when you used to have like those crazy competitions when you were a kid? Who could do the most push-ups, who could do the most pull-ups, who could run the fastest? Challenge yourself. You might not have had that childhood, but if you did, I can relate to it. And if you didn't, use this opportunity to challenge yourself. How long can you hold your forearm plank? If you need to break it all, feel free to come to your knees, sit back in the child's pose. Otherwise, we're gonna hold for 3 more breaths. Not hyperventilating, of course. And 1 more breath here. And then gently come down to your knees, reach back, drawing sits bones back behind you. Oh, lovely. And your next exhale, come up out of child's pose. We're gonna come onto our backs. If you have a band, making your way to your back, we're not quite there yet. Poor cueing on my part, sorry about that. If you have a band, you're gonna place the band around your feet. If you don't have a band and you need a little bit of assistance, you can always hold onto the back of your thighs. We're going into a roll back, so that's how we're working our way down to the supine position, lying on our backs. Sits bones are rooted, long spine. Your knees can be bent or straight, depending upon what feels best for you. On your next exhale, co-contract. We're prepping, so we're just gonna curl the pelvis, making a J shape with the spine as we come right to about the tip of the sacrum, and then curl back up again. Good, long spine, and curl the pelvis on the exhale. I like to take a breath right here and then exhale as I come back up again, so I can get as much articulation through the spine as possible. Good, we're gonna do 1 more here. If you don't have a band, you're holding onto the back of the thighs. If you're just really strong and flexible, your arms are out in front of you as you do this. And then from here, we're gonna roll all the way down. So on your next exhale, co-contract and curl the pelvis underneath you. rolling down one vertebra at a time. Once you get to the sacrum, try to lay the lumbar or lower spine on the floor before you let the rest of the body come down. See if you can ground down through the heels as you roll all the way down to lying on your back. All right, from here, again, if you have a band, you'll keep it just on your right foot. If you don't have a band, this is going to be a harder exercise, just so you know. So blame it on that if you're struggling. Opposite leg can be bent or straight, depending upon what feels best for you. We're going to go into leg circles, starting with external rotation from the top of the leg. You'll draw the leg away from midline. When you get to the bottom part of the circle, you're internally rotating the leg, spiraling the leg around to come up to the top part of the circle. So external rotation and then internal rotation. Even though these are called leg circles, and that's what's moving, we want to focus also on what's being stabilized. So lumbopelvic stability is the main goal of this exercise. Lumbar, lower spine, and pelvis remain stable. Pelvic floor, lower abs, and spinal extensor muscles, those core muscles that we talk about co-contracting, they're doing the work of keeping the lower spine and pelvis stable. When you get up to the top of the next circle, switch directions with your circle. Internally rotating, remembering that that rotation comes from the top of the leg, not from the ankle. So you should really feel the top of the leg rotating in the hip joint. And we internally rotate for the inner part of the circle, externally rotate for the outer part of the circle. And one more time here. If you're not using a band, it means that your hip flexors have to work harder in order to keep your leg in this lifted position. So your hip flexors are right here. If you're feeling that work, then you might just want to support your leg by keeping the opposite leg bent, reach through the heel, and you'll just allow for smaller movements, holding the back of the leg. If you can't hold the back of the leg without drawing your head up, I would use a yoga strap or a belt or something else that you can relax the upper body. So lots of options here. We're continuing with that external rotation on the outside of the circle, internal rotation on the inside of the circle. And once you get up to the top of this next circle, switch directions. And one more time here. And then you'll bring your foot to the floor. Allow both knees to just open up so you're creating a diamond shape. Soles of the feet are pressed together here, just allowing yourself to get a little bit more relaxation through the front of the hips. I even sometimes will massage my hip flexors a little bit. They actually have some pretty crazy devices online that you can buy to get really deep into the hip flexor muscles. All right, knees are bent, soles of the feet are on the floor, toes are spread wide. Clasp your hands at the base of your skull, lengthening through the spine, particularly through the back of the neck. Draw shoulder blades wide, elbows are at a 45-degree angle. On your next exhale, co-contract, tilt chin to chest as you curl up. If you have a Pilates ring, you can also create this position by placing one pad, the inner pad on the back side of the base of the skull, and then putting your hands here. So it looks like this with the Pilates ring. And you would continue doing the movement from here versus clasping hands at the base of the skull. Basically, it gives you the same feedback that the ab roller gives you if you've ever used that contraption. 3 more here for 3, 2. Last one, hold here, bring one leg in a tabletop and then the other. Keep your head float unless you need to relax your neck. You're going to tap your right toe down to the floor, hinging from the hip for 3, 2. Last one, left foot taps down for 3. Curl up a little bit higher, 2, 1. Flex the feet, we're going into marching. Right heel drops down, alternate from side to side. The feet pass each other in midair. And 5, 4, 3, come up a little bit higher, 2, Last one on each leg. Keep your legs in tabletop, gently roll down. Draw your knees into your chest, rocking from side to side. Right knee stays drawn in, left leg reaches long. You can keep your head on the mat, or for more of an abdominal challenge, you're gonna curl up as though you're gonna draw your forehead to your knee. Outside hand comes to outside ankle. We've done this one quite a few times before if you've been practicing with me for a while. On your next exhale, switch legs. This is called single leg stretch in Pilates. Good, continuing here. Keeping pelvis stable as the legs hinge in the hip joint. And 5, 4, 3, curl up higher. 2, last one. Bring both knees into the chest just for a moment, rocking from side to side. And then you'll bring your legs back in a tabletop. Clasp your hands at the base of the skull. On your next exhale, curl up. And from here, we're going into rotation. Draw your right knee in and rotate upper body to the right. Left knee draws in, right leg goes long, upper body goes to the left. This is crisscross. Remembering this is about rotation, not side bending. So keep the spine nice and long as you rotate. And 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Center and draw knees into chest and gently come back down to your mat, rocking from side to side. And then bringing both feet to the floor. Reach your left leg long, right knee is going to stay bent. Arms are going to go out into a T position. You're going to press into the right foot and extend as though you're coming up into like a bridge. Keep the knee in line with the second toe. You're just stretching through the front of the right hip. Continue to reach here and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently come back down. We're going to switch to the other side. Right leg goes long, left knee is bent, sole of the foot on the floor. Keep the left knee in line with the second toe as you press into the sole of the foot to lift the pelvis off the floor. It's causing a rotation of the pelvis, but keep your knee in line with the second toe of the foot. We're opening up to the front of the hips because the work that we just did really works the hip flexors. So we want to give them a little stretch because we're going into bridging next. And we want to have beautiful open bridges, tall bridges, nice arcs underneath them. And then gently come back down. We'll bring both feet sits bone distance apart. Toes are spread wide. Arms are by your sides. We're starting with neutral bridges. On your next exhale, co-contract, press into the feet, squeeze the glutes. Send the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Good. Hold here. Bring arms up towards the ceiling. Keep your bridge lifted. Draw arms overhead. Thumbs may come all the way to the floor. They may not. That's okay. Draw arms back up towards the ceiling. And 2 more times, bringing thumbs overhead. They may touch the floor. Palms are facing each other as you draw arms back up towards the ceiling. Squeeze your glutes a little bit more and draw arms overhead. And then bring arms back up towards the ceiling and sit back down, lengthening the spine. You might keep your arms up towards the ceiling if you want more challenge, otherwise bring them back by your sides. On your next exhale, co-contract, press into the soles of the feet, squeeze the glutes, open through the front of the hips, coming into your neutral bridge. From here, raise your right leg into extension. Holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your foot to the floor. We're switching to the other side. Pelvic headlights shine up towards the ceiling as you bring your left leg into extension. Stay open through the front of the right hip. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring left foot to the floor. Gently sit back down like you're sitting into a chair. Inhale, lengthening through the spine, expanding the rib cage. On your next exhale, co-contract, press into the soles of the feet. You know the drill. Squeeze the glutes, open up to the front of the hips. Right leg comes into extension. You're welcome to stay here, or we're doing little pelvic dips, dipping down, pressing back up. And 4, 3, 2, last 1. Switch to the other leg. Stay open through the front of the right. Toes are spread wide on the right foot. Left leg goes long. And tap the pelvis down and open through the front of the hip. Both sides of the pelvis stay square to the ceiling. And 3, and 2, and 1. Foot comes to the floor and gently sit back down like you're sitting into a chair. Arms come out into a T position. Feet come as wide as your mat. Lengthen your spine. Windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Nice work. All right, bring feet back to sits bone distance apart. Lengthen through the spine. Arms are going to start by the sides. We're going to go into articulating or rolling bridge next. So we really want to think about scooping the pelvis, curling north before we lift the lower spine off of the mat. So I'm saying this before we begin because half of you are going to send your pelvis and your lower back right up towards the sky. We're going to go through this really slowly, so mentally prepare for that to happen, okay? On your next exhale, co-contract, curl the pelvis north. Think about a rocking chair. You're rocking all the way back, curling the pelvis, scooping as much as you can. Keep knees in line with the second toe. On your next exhale, just lift the sacrum off of the mat. Lower spine is imprinted. Inhale deeply here. On your next exhale, start to gently draw one vertebra at a time up off of the mat, curling the pelvis as much as you can. You might feel a pull at the front of the thighs as you curl. Continue to squeeze the glutes in order to get height in your bridge. Reach long through the thighs, opening through the front of the hips. Good, I'm kind of adjusting my shirt so you can kind of see the form here. Good. Press down equally through both feet. Keep the glutes engaged. Keep the pelvis square to the sky. Reach your right leg into extension at knee height. And then you'll draw the leg away from midline and back to center. And away from midline and back to center. Don't let your bridge drop. One more time here. Foot comes to the floor. We're switching to the other side. Before we do, squeeze the glutes. Get your bridge up as high as you can. Stay open through the front of the right hip as you bring the left leg into extension at knee height. And from here, open and close the leg. Open and close. Press into that right heel. And then bring your left foot to the floor. We're going to roll down just as mindfully. So slow and with control, precise in the movement, coming down as gracefully as you can, lying one vertebra at a time back down on your mat. Coming all the way back to your start position. Good. All right, from here, I'm gonna give you a couple different options. So you're gonna bring both feet up off of the mat. You might decide to keep knees stacked over your hips, especially if you have any lower back or hip issues. We're going into corkscrew. If you want to straighten your legs, which is how this is traditionally done, feel free to do so. If it starts to bother you at all, come to those bent knees. We're gonna start with arms in a low V position. You can also have them out in a T to give you more support. On your next exhale, co-contract, curl pubic bone towards belly button, coming to a northern tilt, and then circle the legs around. Your left hip is gonna come off of the mat as your legs spiral around to the right. As they go to the left, the right hip comes off of the mat to come back up to your 12 o'clock position and then back to neutral. We're gonna go the other direction. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. On the exhale, co-contract, curl north, and then sweep the legs around. Stay as soft as you can in the upper body. Good, coming back. 2 more times in each direction. Spiraling the legs around, keeping control of the movement, particularly in the lower part of the circle. Going the other direction. 1 more time in each direction. Make sure that your breath is supporting your movement. If you have straight legs, see how straight you can get them. reaching long through the toes as though you're going to send them all the way up towards the ceiling. And then draw knees in towards your chest, rocking from side to side. And then bring both feet to the floor. And we're going to come into side lying position. Lying on your side, we're going to prepare for clamshells. So find a comfortable position for your head so that your neck is well supported. Draw your knees forward, lengthening through the lower back. Externally rotate from the top of the legs, squeezing the back of the heels together. Really important to stay long through the side body on the top and on the bottom so that the pelvis is supported by the lower abs, hips are stacked, and from here we open and close the leg. And I just said close. What I really mean is we come back to our start position. So the top leg still is about 3 or 4 inches from the bottom leg when you draw it back to your start position, and then you're opening as much as you can, trying to draw the knee away as much as you can without letting the pelvis roll back behind you. So it's, again, lumbopelvic stability, lower spine, pelvis staying still is the most important part of this exercise. We're working glute medius. So right about there is where you should be feeling this happening. Good. And 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back to your start position. As we transition to the other side, we're going to come into a little side bridge. If you want to come into side forearm plank, you're welcome to do that as well. And if you prefer to be on your palm, that's also fine. So lots of different options. I'm going to demonstrate the basic, which is you're pressing into your forearm and your palm. Fingertips are out at the front corner of your mat. Shoulders drawn down the back of the rib cage. You're thinking about drawing your side body away from the mat, really creating a little arc underneath your armpit, engaging the serratus muscle here. From this position, on your next exhale, draw belly in and start to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Imagine you have a string from the outside hip lifting you up and then coming back down. Good. 2 more here. Pressing into the forearm, elbow, shoulder slides down the back of the rib cage. Nice arc underneath the armpit, side body, and then coming back down. If you'd like to raise your arm up towards the ceiling, go ahead and do so. On your next exhale, co-contract. Draw belly to spine as you lift. Good. Holding here for 1 more breath. And then coming back down, we're going to switch to the other side. All right. So especially for those of you who have been practicing for a while, you often know the modifications your body needs and also know how to add more challenging variations to your workout. So please feel free to always add that in. We're going to take our heels together here, long to the side body on both sides, pelvic headlights and gaze shining forward as we open the leg and draw back about 4 inches from the bottom leg. Make sure that your top shoulder is relaxed. And I made a comment, I think it actually might have been in one of the videos I was recording now that I think about it. But what I said in it was that I'm constantly readjusting myself. So please do the same for yourself whenever you feel like you might not be in quite proper alignment or you're feeling like something's a little bit off. Take that time to adjust and find more alignment, more ease in the body. That's really important. 8 more here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then we're going to come in that little side bridge. So knees are still bent. You're going to have your elbow right underneath your shoulder, fingertips towards the front corner of your mat. Before you move, think about drawing the bottom shoulder down the back of the rib cage, and you should feel some work happening right kind of behind the armpit, a little lower, kind of back of the shoulder, serratus muscle working here. On your next exhale, co-contract, drawing the belly in as you lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Imagine that imaginary string. Hold here for 1 more breath. and gently come back down. Again, this is a nice place to modify however you would like to do this exercise, making it a little bit more challenging. You also might decide that raising your hips up off the mat is not happening today. You can just work on the shoulder work. And last one here, you might raise your arm up towards the ceiling, holding here for one more breath, and then gently coming back down. Good, we're gonna come onto our bellies. So reach arms long in front of you. Reach legs, toes, long back behind you. Root through your pubic bone so that you're doing a little bit of a northern tilt of the pelvis here, a little tuck of the pelvis. Forehead's going to rest on the floor. On your next exhale, lift the belly towards the spine as you reach right arm and left leg long, drawing them up just a few inches above the floor, and then setting them back down on the floor. Switching to the other side, reaching long through left arm, right leg, finding that contralateral stretch across the body. Continuing here for swimming. This is kind of our basic variation of it. You're welcome to stay here. If you would like more of a challenge, you'll do this from a body float. So we'll do one more time on this side. And then for those of you who want that challenge on your next exhale, you'll co-contract or root through the pubic bone, reach along through both arms and legs. So they both start to float up off the floor. Forehead floats off the floor. And then same movement from here. Lumbopelvic stability often being a theme in Pilates. Keep the pelvis stable, shoulder girdle stable as the arms and legs move. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reach long through arms and legs. Gently bring the forehead and arms and legs back to the floor to rest. Stack. One hand on top of the other. Let your forehead rest on the top of the hands. Elbows are out to the sides. Reach long through both legs again. And then on your next exhale, you'll draw both legs to float up off of the mat. Spiral the heels together so you're coming into that same type of external rotation from the top of the leg that we had when we did clamshells. From here, you're gonna beat the heels together, reaching long through the heels, feet are flexed. Good, continuing to just open the legs just about to sits bone distance apart or less in between heel beats. Good, keep rooted through the pubic bone, long through the spine. Stay long through the back of the neck. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest momentarily. On your next exhale, again, root through pubic bone, lift belly to spine. Allow both legs to float up off the floor. We're going to come back into external rotation. This time, toes are pointed. We're going to cross left thigh over the top of the right, squeezing inner thighs together, opening just enough to now squeeze the opposite leg over the top, squeezing from the upper inner thigh. Continuing here, slightly opening and squeeze. Open, squeeze. Remember, the squeeze is coming from upper inner thigh, not the ankles. So focus your energy on working right underneath the butt. Upper leg. Good. Squeeze. Straight legs, pointed toes. Squeeze. And 10, 9, feel the burn. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one on each side. Come down and rest. Nice job. All right, from here, you're going to take your hands, make sure your right hand is stacked on top of your left. You're going to place your left cheek on top of that right hand. On your next exhale, you're going to co-contract, draw belly to spine as you allow right arm and left leg to elevate up off the floor. And then gently come back down again. So your right arm and your head are moving as a unit. One more time here. Right arm, left leg, reach long and rise. And this time we're going to try to look for that heel. So as we come up, we're also going to do a little bit of rotation, looking for that left heel behind us. Good, 2 more here. And last one, this is called Tom Swan. And then switch the stack of your hands. Take your gaze to the left. Right cheek rests on the top of the left hand. And we'll just start by reaching long through the right leg and drawing arm and leg up. So it's left arm, right leg, and come back down. Good, let your head weigh heavily on your hand so you're not using your neck here. Good, one more time, just with that reaching and lifting. And now we'll add the rotation. So on your next exhale, root through the pubic bone as you reach right leg, left arm, and see if you can look over your left shoulder, find your right heel, and come back down. 2 more here. If you can't find your right heel, that's okay. That means you have something to work towards. Isn't that exciting? Sure, we all have different things we're working towards. We never run out of them. All right, from here, place your forehead on the mat. Hands are gonna go underneath your armpits. We're gonna start working our way back up to a standing position. So choose the way that you're going to get there. If you aren't real happy with the way I'm choosing to get there, keep your elbows by your sides. On your next exhale, curl your toes underneath you, draw belly to spine, and press up into a plank position. From here, you're gonna reach back through the heels and then send sits bones back behind you, coming into downward facing dog. Walk your hands towards your toes. Lengthen through the back of the legs. Stay hollow through the belly. Allow yourself to stay here for one more breath. Allow the neck to relax. You might even nod your head from side to side. And then on your next exhale, draw belly to spine as you start to roll up, stacking one vertebra on top of the other. And then you're gonna come into a side stretch here. So sweep both arms up towards the sky. Clasp one hand, or clasp your wrist with your opposite hand is what I'm trying to say. Reach up and long through the side body, ground down through the same side foot as you reach up onto the diagonal. Good, allow the breath to expand through the side bodies, particularly the rib cage. And on your next exhale, use your lower abs, obliques to draw back to center. Switch to the other side, switching the clasp on your hands. Reach up and then over. And as you reach over, you're really reaching on the diagonal, like where the corner of the wall and the ceiling meet. And then up, back to center. And then draw both arms up towards the ceiling. Reach down, grounding through the feet. Inhale deeply into the base of the lungs. And on your next exhale, bring palms together and to heart center. Thank you all so much for joining us for Mindful Movement on this beautiful Friday. If you haven't